The Call of the World begins in California, where we see a judge who owns a beautiful dog named Bog. The judge loves Bog dearly, and Bog loves him just as much. Though Bog is intelligent, he is also very mischievous, causing trouble all over the city. However, people ignore his antics because he is the judge's dog. One day, while Bog is in the market, a man notices him and is highly impressed. He mentions that dogs like Bog are in high demand in Canada, where there are gold mines. The judge's master listens to this conversation. Later, during the judge's birthday celebration, Bog, due to his mischief, completely wrecks the dining table. This angers the judge, who throws Bog out of the house for the night. With no way back inside, Bog suddenly hears a voice calling him. He approaches a man who tempts him with a biscuit, luring him into a horse carriage. As soon as Bog steps inside, the door shuts. Outside, we see the same man who had spoken about the demand for such dogs in Canada. He gives the judge's master some money, which Bog notices. Bog is then locked inside a box and transported by train to another location. Upon arrival, a man with a stick opens the box. Bog tries to escape, but the man beats him, knocking him to the ground. For the first time in his life, Bog experiences pain. However, he somehow manages to escape. As he looks around, he realizes he is on a ship, surrounded by the vast ocean. He cannot leave even if he wants to. Eventually, the ship reaches the shore of an extremely cold place. As Bog is unloaded, snow starts falling. He is completely astonished. He has never seen snow before. Excited, he begins playing in it. Seizing an opportunity, he frees himself from his leash and runs away. While running, he collides with a man named John. This is their first encounter. However, Bog is soon captured and kept with other dogs for sale. A man arrives and takes a liking to Bog. He buys him. It turns out he is a postman who delivers letters on a sled. Since the land is covered in snow, no other transport can move, and he needs another dog for his sled team. Bog is tied at the back, but he doesn't know how to run on snow, making him struggle repeatedly. Night falls, and he feels extremely cold. Meanwhile, the postman and his girlfriend are sleeping inside a tent. Mischievous as ever, Bog sneaks inside, pushes the girlfriend out, and takes her spot. She wakes up, confused. The postman's girlfriend throws the bug out of the tent and sleeps inside. Now, alone in the cold, Bog is unsure how to survive. Suddenly, he notices a wild wolf staring at him. Terrified, he steps back and accidentally bumps into a sleeping dog that has dug a hole in the snow. The dog gets up and leaves, so Bog takes its place. This is when he learns how to sleep in the snow. The next morning, all the dogs are pulling the sled again, but Bog is still struggling. He is learning how to run in the snow. After work, they are given fish to eat. However, the lead dog, who is the most aggressive and dominant, snatches food from another dog. Bog sees this and doesn't like it at all. Instead of fighting, he offers his own fish to the other dog. All the other dogs are shocked because dogs never share their food. The lead sled dog, who is tied at the front and controls the entire sled, does not behave well with anyone. While drinking water from a spot, he doesn't allow other dogs to drink. Seeing this, Bog digs into the snow with his paws and creates a new water source for the others. This shows that Bog is a kind and intelligent dog. Earlier, when he lived with his former master, a judge, he was extremely mischievous because he was never trained properly. But now, he is slowly learning new things and making friends with other dogs. However, the lead dog still dislikes him. As time passes, Bog gets better at running on the snow. One day, while the postman's girlfriend is checking the ice, she suddenly falls into the freezing water below. Everyone panics. Postman rushes to save her. But before he can, Bog reaches her first and pulls her out of the water, saving her life. After this, the postman's girlfriend, whom Bog had once pushed out of the tent, starts liking and caring for him. She even begins feeding him, which makes the lead dog extremely jealous and furious. At night, Bog used to play with a rabbit, and even now, he was playing with it when suddenly the lead dog arrived. The lead dog killed the rabbit and then attacked Bog, knocking him unconscious. Just as he was about to kill Bog, the same black wolf that had appeared to Bog before appeared again. The wolf threw the lead dog off a cliff. The next morning, the postman was calling for the lead dog, but he was nowhere to be found. So, Bog was tied at the front of the sled. He ran fast and efficiently, impressing both the postman and his girlfriend. However, soon they noticed an avalanche coming down from above, threatening their lives. The postman signaled Bog to turn left, but Bog saw the black wolf standing on a cliff to the right. Trusting his instincts, he led the sled into a cave on the right. His quick thinking saved everyone's lives. Eventually, they reached the town to deliver letters. In this town, John was present, the same man Bog had once collided with. John was writing a letter to his wife. His son had passed away, and today was his son's birthday. As John hurried to give his letter to the postman, he saw that the postman had already left. He called out, and the postman stopped. Bog ran back, took John's letter, and continued the journey with the postman and the other dogs. Bog's life is going well, but one day, the postman receives a letter from the government stating that his mail route will be replaced by the telegraph system, meaning messages will now be sent electronically. This forces him to sell all the dogs, even though he doesn't want to. A wealthy businessman arrives in town, searching for gold. However, he lacks experience. He buys Bog and his fellow dogs to pull his sled. Unfortunately, the sled is overloaded with supplies, making it extremely difficult for Bog and the others to pull. At this moment, John, the same man whose letter Bog had delivered, appears. He warns the businessman that the journey ahead is dangerous at this time of year. However, the businessman ignores him and sets off with the dogs. The heavy load takes a toll on Bog, who becomes too weak to continue. Just as the businessman is about to shoot him, John intervenes, stopping him. He warns the businessman again not to proceed, but the businessman refuses to listen. Frustrated, John pushes him down and unties Bog from the sled, taking him along. Bog is severely injured and regains consciousness after 2 days. He finds John by his side. John sadly tells him that all his fellow dogs have died, only Bog has survived, and now he is free to go anywhere. However, Bog has nowhere else to go. Later, John is seen in a bar, where the same businessman arrives. The businessman, still furious, attacks John. At that moment, Bog rushes in and attacks the businessman, saving John's life. The businessman is then thrown out of the bar. John drinks excessively because he is deeply grieving the loss of his son. Bog, noticing John's pain, realizes that drinking is not good for him. Since Bog now stays with John, one day, he takes John's wine bottle and buries it under the snow, sitting on top of it. John tries to move him, but Bog is too heavy. Over time, they grow closer and start living together. One day, John shows Bog a map and tells him that it marks a place filled with gold. His son had drawn a line on it, saying they must follow this path to reach the gold. Determined, John and Bog set off in a boat to search for it. By now, the snow has melted. As they continue their journey, their boat suddenly starts leaking, forcing them to abandon it. They trek through the dense forest and eventually stumble upon a cabin, making them very happy. They decide to stay there. Meanwhile, the businessman from the bar fight tracks down John's house with the intention of killing him. However, John isn't there. The businessman finds the map with the marked path and realizes that John has gone in search of gold. Back in the wilderness, John is exploring a river one day when he finds a small piece of gold. Overjoyed, he realizes they have finally reached their destination. Bog, excited, dives into the water, grabs a rock in his mouth, and brings it to John. John laughs, telling him it's not gold. Bog dives again, and this time, he brings up a large chunk of gold. But John doesn't look at Bog, assuming he has picked up the wrong thing again, so he throws it back into the water. Meanwhile, Bog notices a white wolf and chases after it, but it runs away. The area is home to wolves, and one day, when a wolf slips while crossing the river and is about to drown, Bog saves its life. Bog soon becomes friends with the wolves and starts spending more and more time with them. However, every evening, he brings back a hunt for John so that he doesn't go hungry. With Bog gone most of the time, John begins to feel lonely. Sensing this, Bog returns to John, rests his head in his lap, and sleeps. The next morning, when the white wolf appears again, Bog happily runs toward it, enjoying his time with his new family. John realizes that Bog has found where he truly belongs. By now, he has collected a lot of gold, but instead of keeping it all, he throws the larger pieces back into the river, keeping only a small amount. He tells Bog, "You are my true friend. You have found your family. Tomorrow, I will leave." Bog is saddened by this, but returns to his wolf pack. That night, while John is inside the cabin, he senses someone outside. When he opens the door, it is the businessman from before, holding a gun. The businessman attacks John, causing him to drop his lantern, and setting the entire cabin on fire. Both men rush outside. The businessman demands the gold. When John takes some out of his pocket, the businessman is stunned. This is what he had been searching for. Just as he is about to kill John, Bog arrives and attacks him, throwing him into the burning cabin, where he dies. However, John has also been shot and is taking his last breaths. Bog reaches him, and John tells him, "You have found your home. Now, you must live for yourself." With those final words, John passes away. Bog then leaves with the white wolf, who is revealed to be a female. Sometime later, Bog is shown with their pups, leading his pack as their leader. He has fully embraced the wild, and with that, Bog's story comes to an end.